I'm really passionate about fixing diversity and inclusion, but from an external perspective. I think as an industry, we create a huge amount of content, we shape culture, we're a really massive voice in kind of the content that's put out there. How do we make sure that reflects kind of modern Britain, modern society? It's kind of the right thing to do for advertisers, represent our consumers, appeal to them. It's the right thing to do for good and moral reasons. And it's not just about the content, it's about the media. And lots of the good things we're trying to do with data, targeting, reaching the right audiences, they kind of bring with them natural biases that accidentally we often exclude people. And if you look at some of the stuff we're doing with brand safety in particular, of course we don't want to fund hate speech, we don't appear on fake news, but sometimes we use quite blunt ways of doing that. In fact, Vice did a study and they showed that words like lesbian and Muslim were actually blocked more often than like murder and rape. And so that's brands being really, really overcautious about the kind of stories they could be in, but in doing so, just massively excluding consumer groups that they could be reaching, and frankly squeezing those voices out. So if media titles can't get funding, if they don't get media running on them, they don't exist anymore. And if those voices don't exist, we can't reach those consumers. So sometimes you find brands try to do really good, positive, diverse campaigns, and when they put all those settings on and they're not appearing, they're not reaching Muslim people, they're not reaching gay people, they're not reaching all sorts of different minorities. So it's a real call to action. It's similar to kind of the conscious advertising network. Pay a lot of attention to where your media's going. Absolutely put brand safety in place, but do it in a sophisticated way. And maybe think about how you can positively fund stuff as well. Don't just avoid the bad stuff. How can you make sure that some of your money goes into local news, goes into diverse media titles, or frankly just makes really good content rather than celebrity plastic surgery slideshows?
So the one thing I want to fix in the industry is the stuff that we inadvertently fund. So advertising funds the brilliant stuff on the internet. It funds the fantastic journalism that informs us. It funds the 8-cat videos I had to watch to calm myself down before we did this. But it also funds the not so great stuff. So we're talking the white supremacist content, the climate denial out there. When we think about ad fraud, I think advertising money goes to some dark places. So what I really want us to think about as an industry is to lean into our responsibility to fund the internet and fund it better. And I think that just by doing things like joining the Conscious Advertising Network, thinking about where our advertising money is going, and also kind of taking that responsibility seriously. So the COP26 conference is coming up at the end of the year. We're a little bit worried that there's going to be this huge misinformation campaign and it's going to be funded by advertising. So if we think of the industry acts now and acts with leadership, then we can head off this kind of thing, and we can really create a difference.
We really need to fix the diversity, inclusion and equity within our industry. We have a responsibility as leaders within our business and leaders in our industry to drive change. We need to recognise that we have positions of power, and that responsibility is for us to change the way that things are working right now. Diversity matters, not just for moral reasons, but it makes us have better businesses and it makes us better creatives. We don't just need to be bright and brilliant, we need to be bright, brilliant and brave leaders. Let's use our position of power to make change. Let's not just create diverse teams, but let's create diverse leaders. Let's make a change in 2020.
The one thing I want to fix in our industry is the fact that we are going to have to learn how to do things that have never been done before. Okay, that's including looking at career paths that have never been navigated before, people doing jobs that just don't exist just yet. And what's interesting about that is the digital skills that we're being taught today are going to be obsolete. And if we can do one thing for our younger talent and for all of ourselves, is to learn how to collaborate, to learn how to network, to learn essentially to make sure that we can do problem solving really well. And I mean more than an escape room at a weekend. It's really to learn how to learn. I think about the time that I was in France when I was a young girl and on a school exchange, and the French kids could really learn and understand other European languages very swiftly. And it wasn't because they were in the middle of Europe, and it wasn't because that they were better at languages. It's because they had a framework. They knew the past historic tense of their own language. They knew the structure of their own language. So we need a structure, we need a map, we need a scaffold about to learn how to learn. Now, organisations need to be able to take charge of looking at how they embed continuous learning for all parts of the business. And as individuals ourselves, we need to look at how we look at our own learning journey and what do we do for our own learning journey, and look at not just listen to a podcast on the tube and think we know everything about behaviour change, but really look at what are the skills that we need to learn and adopt, at least for the next 2 years out, the next 5 years out, and continually to refresh that.
I think we should make first-party data great again. So at the moment there are a lot of issues around transparency, the fact of the quality of third-party data. So for me, it's making sure that the data that we're collecting, it's collected into the right way, but it's also used in the right way. So how to master the usage of first-party data with content, with the right experience, but not just with a retargeted approach of advertising, and then provide the consumer the right experience at the right moment, so we can do the ideal programmatic dream come true.